Welcome to the Mashup.
Tell me whether I'm wrong or right. East or west, up or down, side to side. I sit to stand and fall to fly. Of all of my impulsive plans, poppin', locking, salsa dances on demand. I follow leading off the map, stop the chatter, scream happily.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Welcome to the mashup. Welcome to the welcome to the mashup.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Twos makes mistakes from time to time. Now, as anybody who's ever had a box of wine before knows, it's not the actual box that contains the wine. There's a bladder inside that has it. And as the wine starts to empty from the box, you've got to kind of just adjust things to get all the wine out. I bought a box of wine like last summer because we were going to have a bunch of people over and I was going to make sangria. Twos makes really good sangria, but that ended up not happening. So the box of wine has sat in our cold storage room for this whole time. And then Mrs. Twos needed a bunch of red wine for some cooking of a giant stew she made. And so it was open. And once you open it, you got to finish it. So over the past, I don't know, week or so, been trying to pick our way through it. And as we're getting towards the end of it, you know, you pull it out and you're kind of squeezing it and trying to get that last little bit of wine out. And you always want to come up with clever ways to do this. Anytime someone's got a box of wine, like, oh, here, do it like this, or we're going to try this. And Twos thought it would be a great idea to try and just blow it up first and then be able to tilt everything out. And I'm just going to say that regardless of what way you're going to try to innovate to get all of the wine out of the bladder in the box of wine, try it with white wine first. That's it.
That's it?
That's it. Just try it with white wine first.
Shout out to all my college buddies back in the day, twos. We used to do Tour de Franzia. And
nice.
That was slap in the bag. That was the old boxed wine. Yeah, those were fun times back in the day. But yeah, Tour de France. Yeah, Mashup 188. How's everybody doing today?
Well, I can't speak for everyone, but I know I'm doing well. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I don't know. I'm having a good morning until I showed up and there's nothing in the document. I'm like, what is Twos doing this morning? Like, is he just trying to annoy me before we even start? I assume that's what you're doing. And I'm sitting there and I'm patiently waiting, as everybody knows on this show. Twos always jams in 1,800 headlines in the 5 minutes lead up to the show. And I'm like twiddling my thumbs. So I've been having a great morning. Twos has been doing his absolute best to get me off of it. You're not Mashup 188. I'm coming in feeling great. And I hope everybody out there is enjoying it. Before Twos responds, if you enjoy the show, make sure you like it, you share it, you subscribe. And you
cross the floor to us.
Yeah, cross the floor to us. That's right. We only need one more, and we got a majority.
Now, here's the thing. Is Twos had a busy day yesterday,
Uh-huh.
and so as Twos is starting to put together the stuff this morning, he's like, "Somebody crossed the floor." Well, this changes everything, and so Twos was doing a deep dive into that without putting all the other stuff up into the document, and so that's why everything had the appearance of being roughshod on Sean's side. And while I should apologize to him for putting him under
You're not going to
duress,
you're not going to.
Not going to, because fuck
I
that.
need to get some violin music. So every time Twos complains about how busy he is, and we're just gonna pull out the violin for you, you can just have a moment, have a sad moment for yourself. Once again, silly Billy Twos. Shout out to Claire. She was texting me this morning too. Yes, if you're watching on X, make sure you retweet this sucker right now. If you're, anywhere else, quote it, share it out, get it out to a larger audience, folks. We rely on you heavily. Kevin, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, Kevin says, anyone who know how to remove red wine from carpet, reach out to Twos at kingofthemashup.com.
All right, here we go. All right. Happy Airborne Friday to all the military men. We had
yes, indeed.
Ed and Jamie on last week talking about the Victoria Cross. So shout out to those two men and every other military man, woman who's
Ed, for a guy from PA who played all over the NHL and then spent decades in the military, incredibly well spoken. You'd think he would have been knocked in the head a few times between all that stuff, but in like just really good at getting his thoughts across. As I'm
yes, it
not
was.
currently.
Yeah, if you didn't tune into 187, you should go listen to the first, what was it, 25 minutes roughly, and they break down.
You should listen to the whole thing.
You should. I'm just.
This is why nobody watches us on YouTube. So you're like, oh, you should listen to 7 minutes of this. You should listen to like 30 seconds. There was like a good little bit. There was a good little bit in the third act. No, the show's good.
Have I found a way to get under Two's skin today? Good. Corrections. We got a correction here. Are we going to start off the corrections?
Yes. So yesterday when we were talking, or pardon me, last week when we were talking about RoboCop, I had said that it starred Paul Verhoeven. Paul Verhoeven is actually the director of RoboCop, not the star. And I'm sorry for that if I led anybody astray. And if the director of Basic Instinct and Total Recall is watching, I am very sorry.
Here's something cool to start off the day, Twos. It's a National Post article, first reading, and now Saskatchewan has a succession movement. And if you
secession,
yeah, what am I? Come on, read, Sean.
If you scroll, Sean.
Yeah, if you scroll down, if you scroll down, oh, boom, there's episode 966 in it. It's talking about the Saskatchewan Prosperity Project. I had Brad Williams on earlier this week. Been getting lots of text twos about what's happening in Saskatchewan. Anyways, had Brad Williams on. He's the president of the Saskatchewan Prosperity Project, and I guess
Speaking
I'm in
corrections.
I'm in a National Post.
That's
or
pretty
at least
cool.
The podcast is the link to it. There you go. I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens there. But
congratulations.
It was Prophet River. Clay had sent that to me this morning saying, hey, you made the National Post. So I'm in the National Post this morning, folks. Well, at least the podcast is.
Your reputation exceeds you.
I guess so. All right. Florida crossing. I think the big news is the Liberals now one away from a majority government. Another Conservative MP crosses the floor to the Liberals, bringing the party closer to a majority. Conservative MP Michael Ma, who once upon a time represented the people of Markham, Unionville.
Did he really?
I don't know. That's right. It says, here's what the quote says. After listening carefully to the people of Markham, Unionville, in recent weeks and reflecting with my family on the direction of our country, I have informed the Speaker and the Leader of the Opposition that I will be joining Prime Minister Mark Carney in the government caucus. This is a time for unity and decisive action for Canada's future, he writes. In his statement, Ma also said Carney is offering the steady, practical approach needed to deliver on the priorities I hear every day, which he says includes affordability and the economy.
I'm going to assume he's a Chinese plant. I'm just going to assume that's the writing where they were threatening, where the Conservative guy was threatened with a bounty on his head, where you would get, what was it, like $250,000 if you
brought him to the Chinese consulate.
Yeah, that's that guy's writing.
Nothing to see to. There's nothing to see.
Well, no. Okay, so here's the thing: is on the mashup, we talk about what's been happening. We talk about current events. I want to do something a little bit different. I want to talk about future events. Like, okay, first off, before I get into this, what do you think the ripple effects of this is going to be?
Of this guy crossing?
Yes.
Well, the Liberals are going to get a majority here in the next month, 6 months. I mean, we had Nova Scotia MP Chris D'Entremont, right? He crossed the floor. And then the same week, we had Alberta MP Matt Genereux, who had rumored to be across the floor, announced he'd be resigning. And that's when Pierre was missing from action. And there's a whole bunch of speculation about, all that. So they had two back then that were going to do it. One of the two went. So what's the ripple effect? They're one away. They don't really need it because they got Elizabeth May sitting there in the wings anyways. But
and the NDP are just going to go along to get along because they're broke idiots who can't afford another election.
but they want the majority title, which tells me there's one more to go, if not two. And you're drawing the link to the riding where we had the Chinese infiltration, and you go, how many MPs are there out there that have that title? I don't know. My prediction is they're going to get a majority.
Mm-hmm. That's mine too. And so here's the thing: is we always talk about like what's happening, and we say, okay, this is happening because they're a bunch of self-serving assholes, or this is happening because they don't actually give a shit about Canada, and this is happening because they're idiots and whatever else, right? But so we're gonna put together a few assumptions here.
Ooh.
All right. So here's my baseline for this is the CPC selected candidates based on their perceived ability to win, ethnic riding match, and willingness to be told what to do by the party rather than the constituents they're purported to represent. Okay? So put it another way, a lack of integrity. It's why they kicked out Sabrina Maddow and Wyatt Claypool. They want people who are fucking sleazy, because those are the people that they can get to toe the party line, regardless of whether it's in the best interest of their local constituents or not, because it's uniformity over representation. Okay. And to be clear, I'm talking about the conservatives here, but it applies to all parties. So immigrant politicians have a high degree of association with their former countries, which mutes or in some cases may negate entirely their allegiances to voters and party. Politicians are self-serving douchebag assholes whose cornerstone interest is their own fucking self-interest. Okay? And swing ridings are most likely to be part of this because MPs face lowest potential voter backlash. The MP for Yorkton isn't going to cross the floor anytime soon. So while Carney can offer them perks for crossing over, it has to be framed around likely re-election prospects. And Carney wants more than one. If he were to limit himself to one, he would have to offer that one a lot. He would be bringing into effect the prisoner's dilemma. And if the MPs know that there are a lot of them doing it together, it reduces the perception of betrayal. So what we're going to see is probably somewhere around 3 to 5 MPs crossing the floor in the near future. And it just so happens that I have a list. So here is the list of 10 likely MPs who are going to cross the floor, of which 3 to 5 of them will ultimately cross the floor. And this is the two's prediction. Chak Au, Michael Chong, Arpan Khanna, Parm Gill, Jasraj Hallen, Kenny Chu, Alice Wong, Tim Uppal, Bob Soroya, Harb Gill. I'm calling it now. 3 to 5 of those people are going to cross the floor together in the near future. And they're doing it based on the assumptions that I made. And when that happens, we can definitively say that the best fit analysis for why they did it is all of the things that I just laid out. Number one among them being that, to reiterate, politicians are self-serving douchebag assholes whose cornerstone interest is their own fucking self-interest.
So we agree they're going to have a majority.
Yes.
So buckle up, Canada. She is rough now. She's about to get a little rougher in 2026. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. So Bill C9 is going to pass. Congratulations, everybody.
Whoa. Bill C9. Mm-hmm. Bill C9 was going to pass whether or not they get the majority or not.
That's fair.
I'm springing it on people, but Monday's episode is Fatine, and she walks me through C9 right now in committee. As I understand it, 10 members, 4 conservative, 4 liberals, 2 bloc. The bloc are siding with the liberals means they got them 6-4. So we can raise all the big stink you want. Just simple math says, no matter how long it drags out, 6-4 comes back for third reading. I mean, you'd have to have a landslide of liberals decide they don't want this. Do we predict that? No.
Well,
Now
here's the
they're
thing: is everything's about their own self-interest, and the less people know about the chicanery that happens in Ottawa, the more likely they are to vote Liberal.
So-
Therefore, it's in their own best self-interest to limit the amount of discourse that people can have about the bullshit happening in Ottawa, and that means that, yes, they are going to support Bill C-9.
correct. So like I'm interesting times ahead, twos, because I think I don't think you're wrong in your prediction. I don't know how many cross. I think that's a bold prediction. Be interesting to watch it. I haven't even looked at the comments. I see a whole bunch flying in. I'd be, but regardless, I see a liberal majority coming. There's just there was a tweet you had, and maybe you want to pull it up on the waiting for a flight and they overbook it. That was
That's the prisoner's dilemma. That's
that's
just pointing out the prisoner's dilemma.
Right.
Is that you hold out and the
offer gets better and better and
the
better, and
offer gets
eventually you
better
take it.
and better. But the thing about it is that you got to be the one to take it. And so, you don't know when the other person is when it's going to cross their threshold to take it.
Correct. And so you're right. Like, is an MP from rural Alberta going to go take this? No. It's going to be you're going to zone in on a select group, which you have done, and then you go, and what point do they just go, yeah, we're taking it? So the Liberals are going to have it, and then you go, C9 is already through 2 readings. It's in committee. Committee's outnumbered right now by the looks and sounds of it, which means it goes then to 3rd reading, which if they have a majority, and I mean, you just look at the NDP, you look at Elizabeth May, you look at all these things, and you go, C9 is coming. And it's probably coming sooner than later.
Absolutely.
I don't mind. Hey, I just want to say, me and Twos, for the people listening, me and Twos, we talk during the week, but we really get to only go back and forth with each other on this show, right? So I actually don't mind predictions. I think that's, I don't know. Be curious what the audience thinks, but
I mean, the thing about it is I've been thinking about this a lot lately.
We chase
right?
the story, right? It pops out, and then we look back at the history of the show, and we go, we've been talking about this for forever, but we never really do what you're talking about and go, what does the next month look like? What does 6 months look like?
Well, and sometimes it's hard to tell, and mine specifically, I'm not going to speak for you, but I feel like my assumptions haven't really been disproven at any point along this way. And it's kind of made me cocky because I think
you've been that way since the beginning.
No, but because I'm just like, and I'm right again, and I'm right again, and I'm right again, and I'm right again. And like the batting average is insane right now. It's somewhere in the 1,500 to 1,700. And yes, the math checks out, Sean. And so here's the thing is you just think like, well, you look at all these political analysts who are like, oh, this is a good idea. And here's the shill reason why I'm pretending it's a good idea. Well, no, it's not. And here's why. And then this is going to happen. And here is a chance for us to say exactly why something is going to happen. And it's a very cynical standpoint to make it from, but I believe it's going to be correct.
Well, maybe for Festivus, we should have a little look at 2026 and have some fun with that.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Shall we get on some rapid fire news? I mean, other than the fact the Liberals got one more and everybody's staring at it and calling out Ma, he doesn't give a crap. And they're going to carry on. And the next thing is, yes, chances are they're going to have a majority right away. How about we start with Thomas Lukaszuk?
Well, Thomas Lukaszuk got invited to Ottawa to speak about Western alienation, which is totally on fucking brand for Ottawa, because this is the guy who, excuse me, just put together the Forever Canada, the Canada United petition, which asked for a referendum because he's fucking retarded. But we tried to get him on to talk about this today. He was while he's been doing this press tour, basically, he was on CBC. And here's him in his office while he's talking to Rosemary Barton about Western alienation, which, I mean, Alberta being a landlocked province, the only organic beings less suited to speak to Western alienation on this entire planet are fucking orcas. This guy has no idea, like he's either willfully misrepresenting it or doesn't understand it. So you may notice up in the top left, there's a picture of a dude making kind of an unfortunate gesture. And your first go-to is going to be, well, I think I know what that looks like, but you don't. It's worse. So here's somebody in the comments. Here's a close-up. Here's a close-up of it. Now, he's Polish. He's a proud Polak. And it just so happens that Tu's grandmother is Polish. So there's a whole lot of Polish knowledge and history. Now you've got the classic owl, which is the sign of wisdom. And that guy there is not a Nazi. It's worse. That is Joseph Pilsudski. Now, for those of you who are uninitiated in Polish history or Polish politics, he is the former leader of the Polish Socialist Party. The Socialist Party of Poland, I think, is technically what it was called. But the Polish Socialist Party, he was the leader of that party when Poland gained its independence. So you have the former deputy premier of a supposedly conservative party who's advocating for unification within Canada with a picture of a Polish socialist who led the party or led the country to freedom and independence. Walk me through how any of that makes a lick of fucking sense. It would be better for him if that was Hitler.
Okay. Liberals push back launch of firearm compensation.
You don't have anything to say about that?
I think it's in my brain. I'm going, how is it possible you can organize 500,000 people to sign a petition and you can't realize the history of what you have behind you?
Well, because this is the founder of Poland, basically. And so you're just like, well, I'm Polish and I'm proud to be Polish, and this is a guy who accomplished something great in the country. He gave us our independence and the formation of Poland. You're like, but just think that through for a second.
Think that through for a second.
Follow that thought through all the way. And you're going
Thomas,
to
if you're listening, could you just think it through just for a second?
Yeah, I'd love to hear your reasoning. And I really wish that you were willing to come on this show and talk about it.
I wonder why he doesn't go, oh, I want to go on the mashup so bad. And then I'm like, him and Tu, wouldn't that be a fun conversation? I guess Keith Wilson challenged him to a debate on Jesperson. Jesperson said yes. And Lukasik has been crickets. So.
You know what? I'll have a debate with him. I'll moderate a debate with him. I've moderated debates before. I moderated the Maverick leadership debate. So I've got experience doing it. I'd be happy to moderate, or I could appear on as you know what? Because Keith Wilson's a juggernaut. If you want to go against somebody who's nowhere near as capable as him,
if you want easy pickings, Thomas, come pick up on twos. You'll have your way with them.
Yeah. I mean, you might have to sidestep questions about the Polish socialist independence movement, but
all right.
But I'm sure you'd have
let's get this thing back on the road. Back on the road. 188 here. We're all over the place. Liberals, oh, we're into the toolies for sure. We're having a time. We're back when you're like 18. You got the souped up truck. Not that I ever had one, and you are driving through the snowbanks because you think it's fun. That's what we're doing right now.
It is fun.
Yeah, liberals push back.
When did it stop being fun?
When I had to pay for said truck, and I still don't have the truck. Right, like I still don't have it.
You just baffle me sometimes.
All right,
City
liberals.
people.
Can I say a headline here? No, am I not allowed to do that?
try.
Liberals push back launch of firearms
headline.
compensation program for individuals until January 2026.
Yep.
Do you need to know more? And
Well,
Yukon will
originally
not
it was supposed to
participate.
launch. It was supposed to launch before the end of 2025, and they
Yes.
had a very successful rollout in Cape Breton. And if you don't believe me, that's literally what Gary Anand-Sagri said. He said it was a very successful rollout. The 22 guns that they got back from Cape Breton was a successful rollout. And because it was so successful, they've decided to delay it.
I should bring this up. This going back to the C9 thing. Zane said also in the committee, the witnesses have been blocked by the liberals. So there you go. That also is added in there.
Sorry, what's that?
They normally in committee they bring in witnesses and everything, and that's been blocked. They're not
regarding the gun thing.
No. Regarding C9.
Well, well, they're doing it for C9 too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Sorry.
All right.
I'm all over the place. And
by the way,
you coming back to the guns,
Yep.
Yukon has now announced they will not participate in the gun buyback program.
Yeah, which is awesome. Good for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, they did the exact same thing with the gun program when they were specifically when they were evaluating the SKS. It was done anonymously, and so were they actually experts? Were they nonpartisan? Do they know a fucking thing about guns? Because if they're anonymous experts, the whole point of being experts is that you can rest on your laurels as an established subject matter expert. If you're denying people the ability to know who it is, there are no laurels to rest their subject matter expertise on, in which case their testimony is invalid.
You know what Kevin's talking about here? Kevin said Marty up north said the Libs lose 5 in the new year.
Yeah, so I mean, there's been a bunch of speculation about it, but it's looking like there's going to be a bunch of them, pursuing other avenues, spending more time with their family, things like that.
Gotcha.
The classic sort of BS, which also is going to tie in well with Carney trying to distance himself from the Trudeau years in every way except financially.
All right. Here's EMS chief with over 40 years experience tells a rural town council that he's been trying to get the government to address EMS deficiencies for years. 18 days later, he's suddenly no longer employed with the Saskatchewan Health Authority.
Yes, the Saskatchewan Health Authority executives did not support or were angry, upset, uncomfortable, something like that with the statements that he made. And they let go a guy of 40 years for speaking honestly about the pitfalls of bureaucracy. So great job, Saskatchewan.
You got the food professor. The high-profile retraction of a Nature Climate Economics paper isn't just an academic slip-up. It signals what could become a wave of retractions targeting alarmist studies that didn't hold up to scrutiny. When the narrative runs ahead of the data, science eventually catches up and it corrects itself. A good reminder, climate policy must be driven by rigor, not fear-based modeling. And
absolutely. And I mean, it's not even
that.
Like, it might be the first retracted one, but like, remember about 5-6 years ago when the Liberals paid for a study saying that forest fires went up because of climate change, and the entire paper didn't even include the word arson. For the first 2-3 days, they were like, look at this study that just proves that climate change is evil. And then as people dug into it, they're like, hey, wait a second, there's a pretty glaring oversight here. And then it got shelved and never spoke about again.
Edmonton teacher accused of committing online sexual offenses against student. A teacher in a Northwest Edmonton K-9 school has been accused of committing sexual offenses against one of his students. Internet child exploitation investigator says 32-year-old Dylan Rozchuk allegedly engaged in a sexually explicit online conversation with a student over the last 2 years.
Kindergarten to grade 9 teacher.
Yeah. We have this Canadian woman approved. Here, I'm going to pull up the Glenn Beck tweet. Canadian woman approved for assisted suicide instead of getting surgery. This is Jolene Van Alstyne from Saskatchewan, suffers from a rare form of parathyroid. Oh, I don't even know.
Parathyroid.
Parathyroid, thank you. Disease which results in extreme bone pain, nausea, and vomiting. She requires surgery to remove it, but no surgeon in Saskatchewan are able to perform the operation. And so she applied and been approved for Canada's euthanasia and assisted suicide program, with the ending of her life scheduled to take place on January 7th. Then step in Glenn Beck.
Let me just frame
Yeah.
this a little bit better. Okay,
Sure.
so there's
A little
no
bit better.
Saskatchewan surgeon available to give her the surgery that would remove her parathyroid gland. Okay, she can get the surgery done in another province, but she can't do it without a referral, and no endocrinologists in Saskatchewan are accepting new patients, so there's none available to give her a referral. So she's in this bureaucratic catch-22 in the Canadian health system where nobody in Saskatchewan can do it, and they can do it outside of Saskatchewan, but there's nobody in Saskatchewan who can refer her, which is required for her to get the surgery. And so she just said, fuck it, sign me up for MAID. And then when the news of this story broke, this is when Glenn Beck gets involved.
Well, and then Glenn Beck steps in, says, I'll find you a surgeon. I'll pay for it. And so there's been this ongoing update, right? So here's update 3. Jolene does not have a passport to gain legal entry into the U.S., but my team has been in touch with President Trump's State Department. All I can say for now is that they are aware of the urgent life-saving need, and we had a very positive call. So they've been in touch with her now, and they're trying, Americans are trying to get Canadians who are on MAID's list, signed up for this thing, down to the States to get the treatment
that's
and are
easily available
to just be like, don't kill yourself. Like, there's options here. We'll give you the options.
Yep. Yeah, this is Canadian healthcare. This is the best healthcare system in the world that everybody wants to defend. And anytime anybody wants to suggest any possible amendments, changes, tweaks, or whatever, say, what do you want? U.S. style healthcare? Well, guess what, motherfucker? U.S. healthcare is going to be saving this woman's life, asshole.
Unfiltered comedians Sioux show should be canceled. First Nation chief, the chief of Garden River First Nations, is calling on Sioux Community Theater Center to cancel the performance of a controversial comedian coming to town in March. Chief Karen Bell said she's against Ben Bankus performing in the Sioux because his jokes about Indigenous people and residential schools are inaccurate and crude.
Yes. By the way, I have a bone to pick with Ben Bankus. I've been bugging him to try and come on here and talk about these show cancellations that he goes through, because I want to get him and Uncle Hack on at the same time to talk about it. And Ben Bankus has just been blatantly ignoring me. So fuck you, Ben Bankus, but also please come on the show.
He was supposed to come on the podcast probably 8 months ago, and then it just fizzled out. And I'm the same boat. I haven't been able to get him on the show to talk about it.
Well, I know I've got a couple mutual acquaintances. I might put a bug in their ear about putting a bug in his ear. But it's really funny, especially like when you look at that conversation that you had with Francis and the other gentleman whose name eludes
Tom
me.
Flanagan.
Thank you. So, for example, Indian residential schools separated children from their families without the consent of parents who didn't even know where they were living, Bell said. Well, that flies directly in the face of specific things that were spoken about earlier this week. So it's interesting that you've got this woman saying that Ben Bankus needs to have his show canceled because the things he's saying are crass, crude, and untruthful. And she's literally lying in the statements talking about how he's untruthful.
I want to find this. Give me one sec here, twos. Speaking of Tom Flanagan and what he was talking
Mhm.
about,
Okay. Well,
so
while
this
you're looking, oh,
no,
go ahead.
sorry, no, this is it would have been Barry Kirkham who had told me to do it, and then Tom Flanagan kind of relit the flame of like I should go read one of the treaties, right? He's like, go read the
Mhm.
treaties. So I went and read on the government website the Treaty 6. And this is talking about the schools. Her Majesty agrees to maintain schools for instruction. Such reserves hereby made as to her government of the Dominion of Canada may seem advisable whenever the Indians of reserve shall desire it. So they had to request the schools to be there.
Mhm.
And I mean, there's a little bit more in the treaties about it.
Yep.
I'm just
But
looking to try and
also
find.
you had to apply. All the kids who went there had to apply to go there. So saying that it was without the consent of parents, well, that's not true at all. They had to apply to attend that school. And so you've got this woman saying he needs to not be there because he's saying lies. And she's literally lying in the statement. And also, there is exactly one good reason to cancel a comedy show. There's one good reason to not have a comedian get up there and tell jokes, and that's that they aren't funny. That's the only reason. Like,
and
even
and
if there's
people and people vote with their money. If somebody's not funny, th're just not showing up.
well, that's exactly it.
Yes.
If people don't want to, like, it's not like he's going into people's living rooms and yelling jokes at them while they're trying to watch television. He's literally saying, I'm going to be at this spot at this time. If you want to come, bring $40.
Europe's foolish war on X, the 120 million or 140 million fine is for breaches of Europe's Digital Service Act. For the first time, Brussels has enforced that law in this way since it came into force 2022. X's system for selling verification blue check marks negatively affects users' ability to make free and informed decisions about the authenticity of the accounts and the content they interact with. Brussels insists X must make data about advertising on platforms readily available to outsiders and shouldn't use its terms of service to prohibit data scraping by eligible researchers. The EU claims this open access to X's commercial data is vital to allow researchers and civil society to spot scams and information warfare.
No, they just don't like the fact that people are able to have open and transparent conversations on X. You might have skipped past this one.
No, well,
Sophie,
it's further down. You had it in two spots. I moved it.
okay. Sophie Gregoire Trudeau reveals herself as voice behind Mask on Canadian singing show. That's a show called The Masked Singer, which, I mean, this is actually big news because up until I saw this, I didn't actually know that we had a Canadian Masked Singer show.
Well, it's all
And
in French.
yeah, well, okay.
Or at least the episode she's on is all in French. Right? If you watch
Well,
the
that would
video,
make it pretty fucking obvious who it is. But seriously, what is it with these people and doing things to cover up their faces?
Sean Ryan, I added this in. Congressman Dan Crenshaw threatens to sue Sean Ryan over questioning how he's basically made his money as a congressman. I thought that
Mhm.
was worthwhile to note. That's in the States, obviously. Here in Canada, there's
Yeah,
lots
in
of.
Texas specifically.
Yeah, and so that's something interesting to watch too, is as different people from different parts of the media and this type of media being attacked by people in government.
Well, isn't it suspicious that people like Dan Crenshaw and Nancy Pelosi are some of the most effective stock traders in the world? Like, they
Hmm.
don't do it as their full-time job. The focus of their life is not stock trading. You would think that if you just so happen to be the best person in the history of the world at something that is also very lucrative, you would probably abandon all other pursuits and do that as your primary focus.
Yeah,
Like,
one of the things Sean Ryan brought up was just in passing, was that he'd had Stevie Aoki come and perform at a party of his, and he's like, "Well, You can afford that? I don't think I can afford that. And that's all it was. It was just a short kind of slide by remark, right? That sparked a lot of controversy. It's like, really, is that sparking that much controversy? The fact that you have somebody that probably isn't showing up for, I don't know what that fee is. I certainly know what it costs to get certain people to show up for the Cornerstone. And I'm like, Stevie Aoki, I don't have the budget for that.
You're paying people to speak at the Cornerstone, Sean?
Paying people? Twos. Well, there you go. Now,
it's interesting how these just asides just come out, isn't it? Okay. Well, my people are going to get in touch with your people.
There'll be a news flash. Twos has been removed from the Cornerstone Forum.
You better cover my travel.
Drivers, show some videos of drivers.
Okay.
This is going to end exactly how you think this is going to end, folks.
Wait for it. It's like he's pausing for a minute. Now he's got to speed up to hit it extra hard.
Oh, my. You're probably driving. The person driving behind is like, he's not going to do it. He's going to do it. No, he's definitely doing it. Then he speeds up and bonk.
Yep.
This is this is interesting. This is in Calgary.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And then do you want to show the Tim Hortons one? Yeah. Here's one too.
Punjabi cab driver decided to change the oil, change the brakes, and this is his mini workshop. Can you believe that? Only in Brampton.
Right in front of the Tim Hortons. Look at all that stuff he's got all busted out, and right in front of Tim Hortons.
Well, he wanted to be near the coffee, right? I'm gonna have a coffee. I'm gonna change the oil. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, well, it was.
Some goofy news, if that wasn't goofy enough. Hundreds of Canada goose deaths in Manitoba leave wildlife experts perplexed.
Yes, so what happened was that they found about 500 dead birds.
Wait, before we
In
get to
Manitoba.
the dead bird thing, I'm surprised. Shouldn't that say hundreds of Canada geese deaths? Goose isn't hundreds of Canada goose.
That's
Come on,
tricky. No,
English major.
Okay, I'm not an English major.
Let's scrutinize a headline here for just 1 second before we get into the story. Hundreds of
What
Canada
they're saying,
goose deaths.
What they're saying is that the individual death of a Canada goose happened hundreds of times. So grammatically, this is correct. It's not wrong.
Interesting.
Hundreds of Canada goose deaths. Now, you could say hundreds of Canada geese died.
So Brett says hundreds already implies plurality.
Like if you'd have
Kevin said Sean is right, geese. So
Kevin has been hit in the head so many times. He has no fucking idea what he's talking about. You're out of your league. Okay? If you'd have said hundreds of Canada geese deaths, that would imply that there was several groups of hundreds of deaths, which would just be weird. But hundreds of Canada goose deaths. You could have said hundreds of Canada geese died, but to say hundreds of Canada geese deaths, it's just unnecessarily cumbersome.
Okay, carrying on. Sorry. You may now explain the story.
No, I think I just did.
All right. Well, there you go. That's happening in Manitoba.
Okay. Yeah, and it's interesting because they're like, well, they found H5N1 in 54 of 726 individual birds, but not the birds that died. They tested 700 and some, and
Well,
they found
it says the
54.
Canadian Wildlife Service said close to 500 birds have been found in Niverville, Manitoba, small town south of Winnipeg, with 200 of those being picked up in the last week.
Now, I mean,
So yeah.
well, the first thing I would look at is how many windmills are nearby. And the second thing I'd look at is how cold did it get? Because they should have gone south by now. And the fact that they didn't, maybe they stayed up because it was warm, and then all of a sudden a cold snap comes in and they're like, "Brrr."
Don't know. We'll keep you posted. Nova Scotia First Nations bans premier from Indigenous land in wake of cannabis crackdown. Last week, Nova Scotia's Justice Minister directed all police agencies in the province to intensify enforcement aimed at stopping illegal cannabis operations and to report back on their activities. And then Nova Scotia Mi'kmaq First Nation has banned the province's premier and two of the ministers from their lands as undesirables in the wake of a recent directive from the province for police to crack down on illegal cannabis sales. They signed a ban council resolution declaring that Nova Scotia Premier Tim Houston, Justice Minister and Attorney General Scott Armstrong, and Minister of Indigenous Affairs Leah Martin are banned as undesirables from all Sipkanakadik banned lands, said in a press release. It goes to say the Nova Scotia provincial government has no jurisdiction on reserve lands. Indigenous cannabis sellers have argued unsuccessfully they have a treaty right to sell cannabis in Nova Scotia. Another way of saying that is drug dealers on First Nations land are upset, right?
Well, yes. Well, technically, it's not the drug dealers. It's the band and the chief who decided that because Nova Scotia is cracking down on illegal marijuana sales, the government is no longer, the head of the government is no longer allowed to come visit them, which he probably never would anyway. But like, just picture this. They say, okay, you know what? We're worried about illegal marijuana sales, so we're going to crack down on it. And then somebody responds by saying, fuck you, you're not welcome here. If you're the leader of the band, presumably you want what's best for the people. And
presumably
you would say presumably, you know, if you were to presume the assumption, if you were to presume the assumption that they want what's best for the people, you would say, oh, well, they're going to work on getting rid of illegal drugs in Nova Scotia. I think that's a good thing. And if there's any here, I would welcome them to come root it all out. And let's get rid of this. We don't want it in our communities. But if they have different reactions to that, it might imply that the assumption that they want what's best for their people is incorrect.
That was a whole lot of word mumbo jumbo. Calgary province continues bike lane back and forth.
You're a dick.
And?
Well, that's breaking news.
All right.
Breaking news, everyone. Sean is an asshole.
Are you going to comment on bike lanes? Or can I just scroll by this because I don't really care?
Well, actually, this is very interesting.
Okay.
So I'm not against bike lanes. What I am against is having bike lanes that don't make sense being put in places where they don't make sense.
Okay.
And if their utilization remains very low over extended periods of time, those bike lanes should be removed and the roads should revert back to extra lanes for vehicles and more parking and things like that.
Sounds like a lot of common sense. Carry on.
And that's exactly it. And so the federal government, well, Devin Dreeshen, who's the Minister of Transportation, I think is his official title or something roughly equivalent to that, had asked the city of Calgary for data about bike lane usage. And this was back when Jody Gondik was still in charge. And she was like, fuck you, I do what I want. And so they're saying
that right into losing an election. Yep.
Yeah,
Carry on.
Yeah. So she did everything she wanted to except win the election. Now, as far as I'm concerned, it's the city of Calgary, and they should be able to do whatever the fuck they want. I'm actually siding with Gondek on this. They shouldn't have to justify their decisions to the Alberta government. They should, however, have to justify them to the people. The Alberta government should not have a fucking say in how many bike lanes. If Calgary wants to turn every last road into a bike lane, it's their city. Let them do it. They've got to answer to the people living there, not the overarching government. But I do like the fact that there's actually potentially going to be a bit of a discussion about how unsuccessful the rolling out of these bike lanes are.
Andrew Coyne, the charter is basically optional now. You have such rights as the government decides to give you, not as much rights as permissions.
What do you think about that, Sean?
Well, I like the comments down here from Randy Hillier and Carla Treadway on my feed, right? They point, well, they basically just, I like Carla's last word. Your Alberta derangement syndrome brings you out, right? When it's like, but people have been saying this for how long, Twos?
Well,
How long?
I think the constitutional discussion has been going on for about 5 years. And the people who were complaining about it before, I think the words Andrew Coyne used were unfashionable yobs. And now that it's something he doesn't like, he's all fucking upset about it. And so this, to be clear, is about the Alberta UCP using the notwithstanding clause to
You think he could get any more flags in there?
he probably ran out of characters. I don't even know what the last two are. What are the last two? If you hover over them, will it tell you?
Nope.
Okay. Well, that's a damn shame.
Somebody watching certainly knows. But hey, add another flag, Andrew. Add another flag. Yeah, one of the ways you can tell me things without having to say them.
Yeah.
many
Yeah.
flags.
Basically, I mean, it's like when people had the syringes in their bios, and you're like, you don't have to tell us. We already know.
We already know.
We can tell by your pronouns. Squirrel Nut says, "Hey, I've got a team for the Mash Spiel."
Shout out to that. All right. That's cool.
Yeah.
Mash Spiel, January 17th. We have a limited time here before we get there. We'll talk about it in the community notes, but we're running out of time. It's a little over a month, and teams of 4, or you can sign up as an individual.
Well,
Marty
here's
up north,
the thing.
Chuck
You don't-
Brodnick, Jamie Sinclair, Eva Chipiuk.
Yep.
Twos.
Well, depending on how much we negotiate for, because apparently that's on the table now.
Going
but
back, what I was trying to say was I was trying to get Jim Brower to come to the Cornerstone Forum.
That would have been hilarious.
Yeah, you know how much it costs to get him in?
Probably something like $50K.
American. So when you go, oh, you pay, and I could see how I'm like, it's not what I'm talking about, you jackass. I'm talking about trying to get people like that to come that you have no relationship with, and they're like, oh yeah, it's going to be $50K US, and you're like, $50K US, man, like what do I got to put ticket prices to even make that happen? And then I don't know, like Jim Brower would have been sweet. And they actually reached out to me again this year to see if I wanted to come this year. And I'm like, well, how much does it cost? Well, $50K US. And I'm like, okay. Well,
right. Good talk. Good
talk. Thank you. I tried.
Okay.
I reached out to Tucker Carlson as well, like their team.
Mhm.
I think it's 200 and some odd thousand US. Plus, they got a whole bunch of stipulations, 5-star hotel, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you're like, whew, you got to have the right venue for bringing in the heavy hitters. And yeah, I like Jim, but I'm like, $50K is a lot of money.
It was a good thought. It was
Well,
very good thought.
Anyways, as you beat me up on paying people, that's what I was talking to.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well,
Mhm.
I'm slightly
Yeah,
less than that.
So Twos will not be at the Mash Spiel anymore. He'll be.
Well, it depends on where we land on the 5-star hotel, and I don't want any fucking green M&Ms.
I tell you what, Twos will be getting the 2-star hotel, and we'll be doing a podcast out of it and having lots of fun. All right, polling. Let's switch over here. Okay. The preferred prime minister's numbers adds up to 107.1.
Yeah. So a Nanos research poll conducted on December 5th talked about who the preferred prime minister is. And if you add up all of the numbers, they come out to 107.1%. Because Canadian polls are garbage.
Can you sue over bad behavior at holiday gatherings? Yes, but you probably shouldn't, UBC professor says.
Okay. You know how everybody in journalism in Canada, with the exception of a choice few, are fucking retarded? So this UBC prof puts out this article talking about where you can and cannot sue people for things that may or may not happen over the holidays. Angry discourse, trespassing, food poisoning, all kinds of stuff. And it's lighthearted and satirical. It's meant to be funny, but they do this deep dive into it because they just failed to grasp the obvious.
Here's Marty up north, who will be at the MASH spiel, folks. The motion to build a pipeline was defeated by a vote of 196 against 139 for.
Yes. So, I mean, largely performative, but it tells everybody everything they already knew.
Here's a headline to go along with this story. Conservatives persist with cute legislative tricks while the government tries to run a country. On Tuesday, the Conservative tabled a motion using the exact language from the Memorandum of Understanding signed last month by Carney and Alberta Premier Danielle Smith. The motion called on parliamentarians to support the construction of one or more pipelines enabling the export of at least 1 million barrels a day of low emissions Alberta bitumen, and mentioned the duty to consult with Indigenous peoples. But its initial version stripped out all the environmental conditions laid out in the original MOU. The Conservatives subsequently amended the motion to include some, but not all, of those environmental conditions, leaving just enough out to lay the foundations for the trap. If the Liberals supported the motion, they risk being accused of forsaking the climate conditions that make a new pipeline palatable to much of their base and beyond. If they reject the motion, the Conservatives would accuse them of not actually supporting a new pipeline for Canada. In the end, the Liberals went with the second option.
Yeah, as did all the other parties, believe it or not. For some reason, the Green Party voted against this. Yeah, and so it was performative, but the whole MOU is performative anyway. So I think that it was kind of dumb of Poilievre personally to even pretend that the MOU is a serious document that he can try and do this finagling with. It would have been much better for him. And why the hell do none of you in the Conservative Party have a lick of common sense? You just say it's worthless. You just that meme from falling rivers or whatever, where they go, this is worthless. That's exactly it. That's the whole MOU. That's it. Quit pretending it's something it's not.
Lloydminster hitting the headlines. Lloydminster has charged a 38-year-old man after officers found multiple firearms and a flag displaying a swastika during a search tied to threats against identifiable groups. Officers seized long guns, a crossbow, ammunition, a flag with a swastika, a Confederation flag displaying the phrase, "The South will rise again." He faces charges including willful promotion of hatred, unauthorized firearm possession, and unsafe storage.
Yeah, so unsafe storage it could be literally anything. It's very judgmental. But this is a guy, I don't know anything about this other than just what you see here. But look at this picture. You've got a crossbow. You've got a couple rifles or 3 rifles. One of them, one on the bottom looks like a 22. You've got a shotgun and that camo one facing to the left. That's a muzzle loader. And that's why you can see up above it, you've got that bottle that's just filled with gunpowder, and then you've got the slugs underneath it, and then you see some jacketed ones beside it. This is the armament that you would find in every farmhouse in rural Canada. You've got a couple hunting rifles, a shotgun, a 22, a muzzleloader, and a crossbow. I'm really curious to hear how this all plays out and some more details, because this looks like more of a fuck you than anything else.
I'm
And
kind of
yeah, the swastika is not great.
I'm just kind of curious what the heck he was saying.
Well, that's exactly it. I want to hear, because I don't know, maybe that's his great grandfather's flag. Because when you look at the firearms laid out there, they're all very normal.
Well, we'll see if we can't pay attention and see where that goes, folks. But yes, the willful promotion of hatred. So we'll see where that ends. She who will not be named. Do you want to show that? Do you want to show that? I didn't think we were ever going to have She Will Not Be Named back on this show. Are we showing this? Oh my goodness, there she is.
Okay. So here's the thing. This is the same thing with inviting Thomas Lukazik up to Ottawa to talk about Western alienation. If you have somebody who looks like this, a fucking ginger, testifying in Parliament, you're not doing it because you want to have honest answers. You're not looking for intelligent discourse. You're looking for somebody who is a paid shill who presumably gets paid in snack packs. Congratulations, you beat Ozempic. You're not looking to have an intelligent conversation. That was demonstrated last time she was in Parliament, and she got invited again. You're looking for somebody who's just going to push your talking points.
Ron DeSantis.
She beat Ozempic? Nothing?
I'm sure somebody's laughing somewhere too. This is where I need the button where I can have some laughter in the background for you. Or a
Oh
anyways. Ron DeSantis.
This must be what it's like to just, if you were starring in Arrested Development or Scrubs, those ones that don't have laugh tracks. You'd be like, I don't know, did the joke land?
Ron DeSantis. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis on Monday designated one of the largest Muslim civil rights and advocacy groups in the U.S. a foreign terrorist organization, following a similar step by Texas last month. The directive against the Council on American Islamic Relations comes in an executive order DeSantis posted, and it also gives the same label to the Muslim Brotherhood. The order instructs Florida agencies to prevent the two groups and those who have provided the material support from receiving contracts, employment, and funds from a state executive or cabinet agency.
Oh. So the headline, here's the thing. The headline, Florida governor declares Muslim civil rights group a terrorist organization. Well, doesn't that just sound super mean? CARE is a designated terror group in the UAE and other Arab nations. Its leadership has connections to Osama bin Laden and Muslim Brotherhood, and has previously praised terrorist attacks. Was any of that in the CTV article?
No.
Ties with Osama bin Laden. He's one of the worst people ever, aside from cisgendered heterosexual men. Here's how bad he is that he's Middle Eastern and they still don't like him.
Dr. Heidi Fry, define the predictors who said we'd lose 4,000 jobs in November. Canada's economy is humming, twos. It's humming. We gained 181,000 since September, mostly among the youth. And that is the MP of Van Center.
Yes. So what happened is that Canada gained 54,000 jobs this month. Great news, right? Sure. They lost 9,000 full-time jobs and gained 63,000 part-time jobs. And they're touting it as a win.
On Friday, City Council voted to undo Mayor Fry's cuts to our sidewalk plowing pilots because the return of winter shouldn't mean risking slips and falls on icy sidewalks every time it snows. Safely getting around our city should be a basic function of our government. I don't know if you want to show the essentially they're talking about paying to shovel all the sidewalks. Am I wrong on this?
So yeah, apparently nobody in Minnesota is capable of shoveling their own fucking sidewalks.
Like I get it when it's like in a park or something. You went,
Do it.
yep, yeah. So they're talking about like neighborhoods and stuff coming in and
Yep.
shoveling the sidewalks.
Yep.
Yeah,
Like, what would be a simpler solution? Everybody just shovels their own damn sidewalk. And if you're next to somebody who's old or infirm, you can shovel theirs. I got a leaf blower last summer. And so I was excited to bust it out when when you get like that light snow. And so I was busting it out and it kind of all just blows back at you. It's largely performative. But I did most of my neighbors before the battery died. See, that's the trick to being a good neighbor. Is whenever it's like that light fluffy snow that's really easy.
you do it.
That's when if your neighbor hasn't done it yet, you go shovel his, and then he's going to feel obligated to do yours. But
And you wait
statistically
for
speaking-
you just wait for that mean snowfall. You're like, well, if I wait long enough.
Well, you don't ever say anything, but he'll feel like he owes you. And then if he's out there and it's a big bastard of a dump, he's going to shovel yours. And meanwhile, you basically just went over there and was like, do, 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 do. And now he feels mentally obligated to help you out.
Sticking with Minnesota, I feel like we showed this last week, but regardless, do you want to show Tim Walz again? I feel like you
No, we had it in the notes, but
we
we
didn't
didn't
show it?
talk about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we had this,
Retarded is coming back. It's making a comeback.
Yeah. Well, retarded never really left.
And I'll tell you what, in my time on this, I'd never seen this before. People driving by my house and using the R word in front of people. This is shameful. And I have yet to see an elected official, a Republican elected official, say, you're right, that's shameful. He should not say it. So look, I'm worried. We know how these things go. They start with taunts, they turn to violence.
Tim Walz, former running mate of Kamala Harris, is complaining that people are driving past his house and yelling retard. And even if it is happening, which I'm sure it is, you don't get up in front of people and say, people are driving by my house and yelling retard.
Because you think that there's going to be more then.
First off, there's going to be more of it. And secondly, it doesn't really do a lot in terms of cementing your like the gravitas. Like you look like a fucking idiot. And you're like, people are driving like it's the stupidest possible response to a completely expected thing because you are retarded. And the fact that you're up there talking about it makes you even more retarded because not only is it going to happen more, but everybody who saw that clip is like, well, maybe he is retarded. If anybody was still on the fence.
Pablo Rodriguez leadership campaign, Quebec Liberals say $1,000 transfers to top volunteers was in full compliance.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit murky. I mean, we've been covering this 3 weeks in a row because first of all, there was these weird texts saying, talking about how people might be getting paid to vote for him. He fires his chief of staff over a really, really weird reason. And then now the top volunteers all get $1,000, which I don't think that's what the word volunteer means.
Here is CBSA. They served $36.9 million penalty to Ontario business for owner failing to declare exported vehicles. And they doesn't show that they were stolen, Twos.
Well, it doesn't say that they weren't stolen is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
They 2,300 vehicles that they exported without any paperwork saying that they had become the legal owners of said vehicles. Now, do you remember when we showed that clip of that,
Yes.
that car crossing the river in Nigeria that had Quebec plates on it?
Correct.
Yeah. I'm going to go out on a limb and say there's a decent chance that that car got exported by these guys.
What do we got? We got here, this one right here. The weather, okay? Canada going into a cryogenic deep freeze due to climate breakdown. Almost no living creature can survive the cold outdoors. Almost the entire nation of Canada will be colder than -10 Fahrenheit, with wind chills colder than -80 Fahrenheit.
Now, -40 is -40. So almost the entire country is going to have -60 wind chills. Almost the entire country is going to have -60 wind chills. Now, what it fails to notice is that Canada, being a giant fucking archipelago, most of the country is right around the North Pole. And so, yeah, it's going to get to -80 up there where nobody fucking lives. And he's right. Nobody can survive that cold. That's why nobody lives up there. You may as well like have a picture of Greenland and be like, oh, look, it's inhospitable. But here we've got a cryogenic deep freeze and climate breakdown. This is the wrestling moves. They're doing the wrestling moves thing again. And I'm here for all of it. Also, it's funny that in the summer, the super, super hot areas get colored purple. And now that we're in the winter, the super, super cold areas are getting colored purple.
You want to show Zoltan's tweet or maybe even the video of it?
Yes.
This is yeah. Sorry, just before you play it, listen. Well, I mean, they just can't say the name. Carry on.
My question is about the materials that went into making the bridge. There has been some controversy about the steel in particular that went into making the bridge.
Sorry, again, Chief Marilyn Gabriel, Common First Nation. I thank you all for coming out, celebrating with our nation. This is the first bridge named from our beautiful dear elder, Larry Grant. Quammen has the utmost respect for you and the Quammen people. It hurts me. I have to tell you, it hurts me. You have them all day. Please keep those questions for a side press conference.
There's some questions about the legality of the steel used in this bridge. And he doesn't even get to answer. This woman jumps in and says that today is a celebration and we don't need to ask those questions right now and ruin the celebration
Of the bridge.
of the bridge that we can't name.
That we can't name because if you look in the background, you're like,
It's completely unfucking pronounceable.
how do you pronounce that? I'm sure there's a way to pronounce it, but nobody's pronouncing it. Even the First Nations lady isn't pronouncing it. It's like,
Yeah.
isn't
Yeah,
that odd?
like it's in the IT crowd where that woman ducks into the boardroom and she's like, oh hey, there's some people here from the government, they just have a few questions about your tax returns. And then the CEO guy like just gets up, opens the window and jumps out of it. That's basically what just happened there.
Forgive me. Did we not talk about this one too last week? Laura
Well,
Babcock?
we talked about a previous version of this. So this same horse-tooth idiot, Laura Babcock, was talking last week about how MAGA cutting foreign aid caused 400,000 deaths.
Okay, so this is a follow-up on that. MAGA cut of aid to world causing 600,000 deaths now. MAGA
200,000 people have died in the last week because of MAGA cutting foreign aid. That's if you do the math from last week to this week, another 200,000 people have died of starvation because of MAGA foreign aid cuts.
Here's Sheila Gunn Reid, PCO documents from the POEC where they admit to censoring social media accounts related to the Freedom Convoy. But yeah, tell us more about how you're mad about foreign regimes doing exactly what the Liberal government does. This coming off of Foreign Policy Canada tweeting out, dissenting voices disappearing from your feed. It might not be an accident. Some foreign regimes silence critics through takedowns, legal threats, and intimidation campaigns.
Yeah. And then readers added context to that tweet. The Canadian government is currently in the process of drafting Bill C9, which would criminalize forms of protected speech and protest. And then here's Sheila Gunn Reid bringing the receipts on them asking, did they do anything to censor social media accounts during the Freedom Convoy? And yes, the documents exist, so they did, but all the information's redacted. Because if
Redacted.
they hadn't, keep in mind, if they hadn't, it would have come back with no results.
First Nations members raise alarm over $10,000 offers before gold mine vote. Dormant since it was closed 17 years ago, the SK Creek gold mine site in Talton Nation territory, 83 kilometers northwest of Stewart in a mineral-rich region known as the Golden Triangle. It goes down and it says on December 13th, 14th, Talton government is holding a vote over impact benefit agreement with Skeena Resources that it says will provide the nation with $1.2 billion in cash and $570 million in contracts and wages over the life of the mine. First Nation has never had the authority to establish their own conditions in the environmental assessment, make decisions, and set standards on how the mine would operate if the project goes ahead.
So
In the month,
okay, it's a long article, but the Coles notes of it is that they preemptively did a $40 million upfront payment, which is broken down into $10,000 units, which are given to the people voting on this.
correct.
Now, if you were a cynic, you might look at that and say it looks a lot like bribery. If you were a pragmatist, you would look at that and say that's literally fucking bribery. If you're twos, you look at it and you say, if you just give one group of people a magic fucking wand to be the arbiters of what projects do and do not go forth in this country, they're probably going to get bribed a little bit fucking regularly.
Environmental racism. You want to show the video?
Yeah. All right. These are the people.
Into law, many Canadians don't understand exactly what environmental racism means. Can one of you please explain the value of this law to protecting the health of Canadians and what environmental racism means?
What environmental racism is? It's the connection between instances of it's the intersection between sociological and other factors and instances of adverse environmental conditions.
If it hurts your head to even think about what the hell she said, you're in the right.
Here's how Canadians can save at the grocery store. Bendercart Analytics provides pricing data to companies in the food and beverage industry to help improve pricing strategies. Their app is going to tell you how far you have to drive, how much your gas is going to cost, all added into the equation of who has the cheapest prices, essentially. And then in the same article, the National Zero Waste Council says Canadians do not necessarily need an app to save on food costs. There are three things consumers can do: buy what they need, use it up, and store it right.
Yes. So we've gotten to a point in this country where we're trying to educate people on how to spend as little of their small remaining money on groceries as possible, because everybody's fucking broke because we're being taxed to death and every industry's stifled and the government makes every possible decision in the worst way they can.
Here's Just Bins. He said Sass Party MLA should join a union so they can get more time off. The top is the Sass Party. The bottom part is the NDP.
So these are the days that they sat in the legislature, or could have sat in the legislature, I should say. So, for example, Scott Moe missed 2 days in a row, day 13 and day 14. Alana Ross missed day 3 and day 4. And you've got a whole bunch of red in the NDP side. Look at the attendance records between the two of them. Yeah, sure. There's a few. Actually, let me just double check. There is exactly one NDP MLA who sat in every day of the legislature.
No, two. Oh, no.
No. There is one.
There's two.
There is one.
No, you're right. You're right. Twos is. I can't believe I'm saying it. Twos.
Why?
Right.
You say it every week. It happens all the fucking time.
There you go.
So, anyway,
Ugh. Hate uttering that line on this show, folks. Hughes is right.
well,
Ugh.
maybe just quit disagreeing with me.
You got any happy news this week?
I totally forgot about happy news. I was doing a big catch up on the whole floor crossing thing. So I'm sorry. I'm sure there's a lot of happy news out there, but it escaped my notice.
Okay. Well, no happy news this week. There's got to be happy. Somebody's
Well,
got
there's
something.
happy news. There's
Hey,
happy news.
Hey,
I just
listeners,
don't know about it.
comment something happy so we can talk about it.
Even if it's silly.
Yeah, there's got to be something happy. There's got to be. It just has to be. I want something happy news here.
Jamie Ingram, you're a dick. A broken clock is right twice a day, just like twos. Happy news is 9 days to the winter solstice. How is that happy news? I don't understand how that's happy news.
That is happy news.
How is that happy news?
Because after that point, the days start getting longer.
So our happy news is that we're going to have 9 more days of shortening days?
Correct. We're getting closer to the shortest day of the year.
Oilers got rid of Skinner. Happy news.
Did they really?
Well, that's not happy news for me. I wanted that guy to stay in that job forever.
Excuse me. That doesn't happen
Zane,
very
it's
often.
not happy news to say that a week and a half from now, things are going to start getting better. That would be happy news then. The news now is that things are going to be worse for another week and a half.
Yeah, Stuart Skinner.
All right, let's talk about Eli.
Just second. I'm pulling it up here.
Okay. All right.
Pulling it
Well,
up.
in
Okay,
other
here.
news-
Okay, here's the news. We didn't have sports desk this week. Two's slacking. The Penguins have acquired goaltender Stuart Skinner, defenseman Brett Kulak, and the Edmonton Oilers 2029 second-round draft pick in exchange for Tristan Jarry and forward Sam Poulin.
Well, I need to take some Rebaxa sec because apparently I do all the heavy lifting on this show.
You have one job, Twos. You have one job. That's what you got.
It's to do all of the jobs.
You got one job. One job, Twos. Don't get me fired up on this. Okay?
Our hotel.
Okay? Unbelievable. Okay. Community notes. Okay. First, Vesper had reached out, and I'm just going to bring up his YouTube channel. He's got a YouTube channel going, talking about branding. And I was texting with him. I'm like, man, I must absolutely annoy the crap out of him sometimes when it comes to branding. And anyways, it's not political. It's to do with, building logos and branding yourself. So if that's of interest to you, marketing, thank you. You can find them either at Ellie Mac Inc. on YouTube. And once again, it has nothing to do with politics. So if you're looking at starting a business or you run a business,
or
and you're
you
looking,
just like things that are interesting. Like,
yeah,
he's a really fascinating guy to talk to about any of this stuff.
You can also find him just eli-mac.com. So if you're wanting to see some of his stuff, check that out. Okay. He's coming back on next week on the podcast, actually, too.
On the Mashup or solo?
Solo. Because Faytine comes on Monday talking about Bill C9, and she's linking it to the Block wanting Bill C9. I'm like, well, why the heck would they want it? She goes, I don't know, talk to somebody out of Quebec. I'm like, wow, I know the guy. So Vesper is going to come on, and we're going to talk about that and go from there. Okay. Other things. So shout out to Vesper, and he's obviously been on the show a bunch of times. We got a ton of time for Vesper, and if you're looking into some cool content or you want some help with branding, marketing, that type of thing, check him out and check out his YouTube as well. Community notes, the MASH bill. We already brought it up once. We're going to bring it up again. It is coming January 17th, so just over a month away, and it's going to be in Kalmar, just west of Leduc, and we're going to have some fun people there. Jamie.
Here's the thing. Oh, I was just going to say, it's a lot more about just getting together and having a great day than it is about curling. So don't let the curling befuddle you.
The trophies did just get engraved, though. So there are trophies coming.
Okay. I want to ask about them, but I also want to just see them for the first time when it happens.
Well, I'm going to spoil it a little bit because shout out to Tyler. They're like old school, right? Like they're old curling trophies.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we're gonna have a trophy for the winner. I mean, you got to have a trophy for the winner.
I think I've got a curling trophy over there somewhere.
I don't plan on being receiving that unless I pay my team right, because I'm going to pay my team to come, not Twos to be there. I'm going to pay my team to come so we can win it. We're going to have some serious curlers come with Sean, so we could dust Twos. So if you're that curler, reach out to me. We have Jamie Sinclair, Chuck Prodnick, Marty Up North, Eva Chipiuk, all going to be there as well. Chris Sims, if you're watching this, I don't know what you're
already.
doing. Yeah,
and
let
Lee
us know.
Smurl. And Lee Smurl. Has CSIS RSVP'd yet? Have you heard anything from CSIS? Are they going to be coming?
I haven't heard anything from CSIS.
Okay, all right. Well,
although I did have a very interesting experience leaving the UCP AGM. I was walking out, and I was talking to the Independence truck that had a big sign, and the cops drove up, said, "Hey, Sean, how's it going?" And I was like, you talking to me?" And they're like, "Yeah, how are you doing?" And I walked over, and I'd interviewed one of the cops, and I'm like, "Oh, hey, how are you doing, sir?" And I was like, that was strange. I'm like, am I about to get arrested for standing outside the UCP AGM?
Talking to the Independents? Yeah.
But no, CSIS has not reached out. We're still waiting on that email, phone call, text, home visit, whichever you prefer.
Yeah, they gotta run it up the flagpole first. And as far as the Scottish comedian goes, I just put him on every time he comes across my feed. I just haven't seen anything from him lately.
Well, I've been trying to get him on. I've reached out to him several times, but now every video he's got too is on Instagram alone. It's over I think it's 2 million views every one. So I wonder if he's just, I don't know, maybe he's forgot about us. I hope not.
Well,
I hope not.
I mean, we were some of the original supporters of the guy. That's got to count for something.
It's got to count for something. The Cornerstone Forum returns March 28th. The big thing here, folks, okay? One,
5-star hotels.
We just confirmed Larry Johnson. He was just on yesterday's episode.
That was a good conversation.
Yeah, and so he's confirmed now. So he adds in to Martin Armstrong and Tom Luongo and Alex Craner and Vince Lanchi and Matt Arrett and Sam Cooper, and the list goes on. And the big thing to note is December 31st, early bird prices end. So if you're a procrastinator, don't procrastinate. Get a ticket, because they're, the cheapest they're going to be. Prices go up January 1st. So if you're sitting on the fence, buy a ticket. We've just confirmed Larry Johnson. That happened yesterday. So that's pretty cool news. And the Mashup crew, you're the first to hear it. So breaking news on the Mashup. And once again, buy tickets before December 31st. Twos, any other community notes we got out there?
No, those are the big ones. There's a fishing derby coming up in a couple months, but I don't have details yet.
All right.
And Rage in the Cage says hello from Olds.
Hello, Olds. And Squirrel Nuts says building a table for the Cornerstone. Sweet.
That's cool.
That's cool. All right. Matchup 188 in the books.
In the books.
Folks, thanks for hopping on with us today. And we're here every Friday, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. If you enjoy the show, please share it out. Subscribe, all the good things. And we'll catch up to you next week. Twos, as always. Until
Thanks
next
very
week,
much. And also, Zane wants to know about the burgers at the curling rink, because some of these rinks have some of the best burgers in Saskatchewan and Alberta. And that's one thing that I'm really excited about. I haven't talked about this yet, but I'm really curious to try their rink burgers, because I know where I'm from has the best rink burgers in Saskatchewan.
I have to assume they're going to be pretty darn good, don't you?
Well, I don't want to assume. I want to be pleasantly surprised.
All right. Well, here's to being pleasantly surprised. Gents and ladies, we'll catch up to you on 189 in a week's time. Until then, Twos, good seeing you, big fella.
Peace out.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Tell me whether I'm wrong or right. East or west, up or down, side to side. I sit to stand and fall to fly. Of all of my impulsive plans, popping, locking, salsa dances on demand. I follow leading off the map, I stop the chatter, scream happily.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Welcome to the Mashup. Welcome to the Mashup.